What's up, my dudes? Dirt bikes in No Man's Sky. What the hell? So this is a bit of a crazy idea I had right here. So basically, any of you guys that know this game know that you can go to all these planets. You got all these different terrain formations, quintillion, 16 quintillion different planets you can go to, all that. And once they started adding the vehicles in the game, not your ship obviously, but you got all your different vehicles, right? So you've got like basically it started off with you had some kind of looked like this puppy. Let me see if I can even put this down. There we go. Kind of had, that all-terrain vehicle looking thing, and then it went to they came out with this, which could glide over water. Then it kind of morphed into even more things from that. Went into a full-blown. That's like a really big for mining and doing stuff like that. It's like a damn excavator style vehicle. Then you got this is the full-blown underwater submarine style vehicle in the game. So they've definitely expanded on the vehicles, and I think that what would be really cool, and this is kind of cool, because obviously Hello Games made Joe Danger. That was their first big game, which is basically a dirt bike, like a little mini game, dirt bike style mobile type game to it. But this would just be so cool in a game like this. And basically they have a bit of what you would call kind of sort of like a bike in No Man's Sky. Is like a, super alien level motorcycle right here. But the issue is when you're on this thing, it's very, I don't know how to explain it. It's more like it's not like a dirt bike in the sense of you don't really get enough speed to jump stuff super big. It's not, this is close to a dirt bike, but not really a dirt bike in No Man's Sky. What I'm trying to get at, what I think would be badass, is if they would go there and make something that was literally like, obviously it's going to have a bit more of that futuristic, alienated kind of look to it, but just having some kind of dirt bike, full-blown dirt bike in this game where you can really go fast on it and really pick up enough speed to jump off of some of these mountains. And so you can jump it a little bit, but it's not quite to the point of you're just not going fast enough. That seems to be the bit of the issue here. But the thing that's cool about this, I know some people are going to look at this like, well, why would you need a dirt bike in No Man's Sky? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, what's the point in that? Well, they have the whole ability where you can make tracks in this game. So that started even back in the days of when they only had the one vehicle, that full-blown that more like ATV style vehicle. It's technically more like a I don't know how to explain it. It's more like a SUV than it is an ATV. You know what I mean? It's a little bit bigger. So, but you can make tracks in this game for that. So I would assume they would have more of a stunt style dirt bike, freestyle motocross bike type vehicle in the game where you can really jump over mountains. You can go in there and design, build your tracks, because it does have the full-blown, you can, basically what it is, like a waypoint system. You just pick little areas where you're going, and that's kind of build your track. But it's cool on a game like No Man's Sky simply because with a game like this, you basically can build it on anything because every planet is different. So that's what's interesting is you could have it on a tropical planet where you've got jumps going over little oceans and little ponds and tropical trees around you and stuff like that. And then you could have, a track on a planet that's more like this, like a kind of more barren, deserted style, whatever you want to call this, almost more like a moon style planet like this. And that's what's really cool about it. But what's interesting is when you start talking about making tracks in this game, then it goes into, well, you can damn near, let me see real quick what I'm doing. Hang on just a second. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting, is the fact that, and these are all things that were never even expected to be really in No Man's Sky. This whole entire thing has been created after they've went in here and done all these updates, right? So if you kind of followed this game from the beginning, or you saw the day one days of No Man's Sky, this is a very different game on the stuff that I'm talking about right now, because not only do you have vehicles, like land vehicles, but you also have the terrain manipulator. right? So this is now giving you the ability to scope and shape and sculpt however you want. Obviously, it's not going to have the full-blown power to be able to really shape this stuff exactly how you want it, but I think that would be cool in future updates. Hello Game Sean Murray, you know what I'm saying? Get us a little where we can actually like pick between like a square shape or a whatever kind of shape, kind of like a hologram version of it, showing us where we're at with the terrain manipulator instead of just like beaming areas like this, you know what I mean? That would make it a lot better for leveling out you know, terrain and dirt in the ground to build your house on, and just different cool decorative stuff that you can do with your bases. I found that to be a little tricky trying to like, you know, get a flat surface to build a house on in the game, which you don't have to build it on a flat surface, but you know what I'm saying? If you're wanting to get a flat surface, it's quite difficult to actually accomplish that, right? Because you get all these little, just a random generation of like beaming, kind of having this laser beam that, you know, does that. God, the terrain manipulator is so cool. That just adds a whole nother layer. Like, damn near made my own little base cave right here, just like that. Boom, dude. And the cool thing about it is it stays there when you do it, right? So, for instance, let me kind of show you what I'm getting at here, right? So, if I come over here to, okay, and obviously you can add it as well, right? So, what you can do is basically really cool, and you can change the shape like this. You know, you can obviously build, let me, hang on just a second. Okay, so basically how this works right here is, I kind of forgot a little bit, it's been a little while, but you can change the shape, like you can get a cube like this, right? And basically you can change the size of the cube that you're terrain manipulating to add like a huge cube like that right there, right? So you could basically, you know, build a pretty tall, kind of like a skyscraper style structure like that pretty quickly. That's kind of cool that you can do that. So basically, you know, you can build stuff like that pretty quickly in the game. But what I'm trying to get at is it's going to be a lot harder to make those precise, very, very precise style adjustments and stuff. And I don't think there actually is the ability to, let me go here real quick. So basically you've got the circle, you can, that's the only two shapes that you can add terrain in, which I think they need a lot more in that sense. But like if you go in here to destroy the terrain, right, you can also change the size of this. 3 different options. They need a lot more in this sort of category. You need to be able to actually, whenever you're manipulating it, you need to be able to destroy the terrain in any shape you want to, and in the same size that you can of these things right here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm getting at. What I'm trying to get at here is like you need to be able to get to the point where you can almost like design your own jumps and your own things for your track, you know? That's what I was trying to get at that whole time right there. So like basically, see if I can kind of do this a little bit. So it's hard to get, it also needs kind of like a smoothing option. That was another really big thing. The terrain manipulator needs some sort of smoothing capability to it, which will be really big for it as well. But it's pretty cool how you can totally adjust the terrain right here. And, you know, obviously that's, people could mistake that for already being pre-made on the planet, but it looks pretty, pretty man-made. You know, it looks like you got some rock skyscrapers going on. But what I'm trying to get at, why I'm going into all this spiel about the terrain manipulator is, if you can go in there and start truly manipulating the terrain to a more extensive degree and a more precise degree, it's going to make it to where you can actually go in there and fully sculpt your actual track out versus just basically placing waypoints on pre-made, you know, mountains like this, or pre-made, you know, you're kind of, you feel more like you're just riding on a pre-made planet, because that's pretty much what you're doing on a lot of the standard tracks in the game right now, and your own custom tracks that you make in the game. So not only adding like a more of a stunt style vehicle to the game, or something that can really jump mountains big, and maybe you could do backflips on it. I mean, I'm just thinking like that combination of, you know, Joe Danger and, No Man's Sky. Like, that'd be so cool if they did that. Like, why would they not do that? Now that they have all these vehicles in there and have the racing system in there, obviously they got a little bit of that in Hello Games blood, you know, to have that sort of motorcycle freestyle stunt type vehicle in there. That was their literal first game that they made, was exactly like that. It was like a mobile dirt bike freestyle type game. So they should definitely do that 100%. I think it would make the racing in the game a lot more interesting to have vehicles more like that and make them a little bit faster than what this current little motorcycle thing is in the game. You know, and having it to where you can really like manipulate out the terrain to fully build your track. I mean, you think about it like this. I know it may not seem like that for me just kind of talking about it like this, but I mean, just think about that though, right? Like, you know, you start kind of carving like this, you kind of dig your track down in the terrain where your entire track has been dug into the terrain, so you feel like that it's actually a track and you're not just riding on top of the surface of a planet. You feel like you're actually dug down in the terrain, and not only improving on the terrain, manipulating will do big for that kind of stuff and giving you more options in that kind of sense, but also it's going to give you way more, like I said, just creativity options, building different terrain stuff around your base and stuff like that. But you just imagine making something like this, right? And then pulling this over here, and then taking this down right here. That could be like the finish line or something. That looks like a damn World of Warcraft portal. Dude, we're going to go to the Outlands. Don't worry. Oh, God. But you get my vibe here, right? Let me go get back in the vehicle so it's kind of making more sense. But this is something you would never expect to be able to do in No Man's Sky. And like people that saw the first trailers of the game, you'd never expect to be able to make a track in the game and have vehicles and that whole 9 yards, right? But now it really is becoming a possibility because of all these updates and all these things they've added. That whole vehicle racing system and actually having more of like a freestyle motocross bike in the game would be so cool. And it's got such an element like that. If they could add sort of a pre-made ramp, terrain manipulating, where you can add in like a pre-made ramp type object, that would be awesome. Be able to make little supercross tracks and shit. Oh god, dude. I'm already thinking about this. Like, this is just insane. Because you could build it on any planet. So you could have basically any sort of off-track biome, any sort of off-track stuff that you could possibly imagine, and then share your tracks with other people and let other people race your tracks and have a track in your backyard right beside your base in the game on your whatever kind of planet you have your base built on. So it's just a cool aspect that they've kind of little road that they went down that I never would have thought No Man's Sky would have done, Hello Games would have done, you know. But as soon as they came out with the vehicles, they had that little basically waypoint track maker in there from the get-go. So, you know, I really hope to see advancements on that and really make it more of a thing to the game, more of a fun aspect to the game, and just traversing the planets would be a lot of fun in more of a fast style on-land vehicle that's got more jumping capabilities, and I think that's certainly something they could get a lot of fun out of in the game. You guys know I'm always dreaming about riding on the moon on a dirt bike, so this is a way I could do that. So that would be cool. But not something too extravagant, but just a simple little like real dirt bike style vehicle that you can do backflips and front flips and fun shit over like big mountain jumps and stuff. I just think that'd be really, really cool to have that in this game. So either way, that's my little opinion. Give me some dirt bikes in No Man's Sky. I know it's like not even the point of the game at all. I know it's such a weird like side thing to have in there, but I just look at it like, why not have it? I mean, you have all these different vehicles. You have the track making system, right? Why would you not add that ability to where you've got some sort of vehicle that can really jump properly and really given more ability to actually make full-blown tracks in the game when you have a track maker in the game? It would just only make sense to be able to do that, right? Because I could just see a lot of the more deep track makers in this game, you know, they're in there already doing stuff like really going in there and terrain manipulating and trying to make little areas that you go through. Like I tried to explain a while ago, that little checkpoint, basically making a little checkpoint like this. You can even have, like, see right there, I can almost make a ramp. It's kind of difficult, but you can, like, you can just almost do it, you know? I don't know, it's just really hard to get precise movements and stuff like that on this. That's my only little concern with it. It's just kind of hard to get those real precise, taking her all the way to the ground type, and having that smooth transition jump face type thing going on. See if we can do it. Trying not to get... See, it's not building it any lower. So that's why they need that smooth tool. Because, see, you could smooth this off right here, and then fucking boom, you got a damn jump. You know, I mean, I literally made a jump right there. And then just imagine what you can do with that. It's just another little extra fun thing I feel like No Man's Sky could use. A little cool thing that could be in the game. And that smooth tool is also going to help people massively that try to dig out an area and build their base around a cave system and trying to get like perfect angles on the terrain to where you can build. Because obviously the base building, you've got like perfectly squared off walls and stuff like that. So you really need to have where you can have a perfectly square floor by digging out the terrain perfectly and being able to smooth that. I definitely think that's all some stuff this game could use massively. And making it to where the terrain, see, it's a little bit hard to find this, but making it to where that terrain, you can see it a little bit. Oh, dude, check it out. It actually worked a little bit. Oh, wow. I think once this game advances and once they improve some graphically and some of that, I think a lot of that, making that where it doesn't pop things in, you got a lot further of a view distance to where before it starts popping in like that. I think that'll be a lot better if they can improve on that in the future as well. But yeah, dudes, either way, it's kind of hard to hit it with speed because it's got a damn kicker right before it. This is so hard to go up. But you just see like the fun. This is such a sandboxy style game as it is anyways. It's like, why not have this in there? Why not have a full-blown, you know, see how it kind of disappears? Then when I get closer to it, then it shows its true shape. You know, that pop-in, fade-in needs to have way further of a distance than it has currently right now, in my opinion. It definitely needs that without a doubt. But check that out, dude. I have a little struggles on it, but either way it is. Definitely let me know down in the comments what else you guys like to see in No Man's Sky. This is one of those things I think they should add somewhere in the backdrop in the future. I think there's so many other things this game needs way more than this right now, right? I'm not saying this is like, yo, you need this in the game. I'm just saying, why not have it if you're going to have all that other stuff, right? All the other vehicles and the track making, and they might as well have a fun vehicle that's like a motocross bike flip vehicle, big jump, fast vehicle in there. That'd be cool. It's basically what I'm getting at. So either way, dudes, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later.